Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a video I've been wanting to make for a very long time, which is the 5 top most untranslatable Italian words. And I know that there are a lot of videos out there and a lot of articles out there about untranslatable Italian words or words that exist in a language and don't exist in other languages, but whenever I see them about Italian words or expressions, I'm like, there's always something missing. There's always that 1 or 2 words that are missing. So I thought, why not make it myself? Why not make one that has all the words and all the expressions that, or the top 5 that I think are the most untranslatable or that don't exist in other languages and things like that. So this is not a thorough guide, but it is my top 5. And I think you're gonna find it very interesting because it's from the point of view of an Italian that speaks another language. So I think I know what words we use, and I try to come up with the ones that I think are really interesting, and if you're interested, just keep on watching. So the first word I'm going to mention is a word that actually exists in English, but it's a word and not just a sound in Italian. So that's probably because I included it, and it's the word uffa. Uffa is the Italian for oof in English, right? So in English you would say oof, which is not really a word. In Italian you would actually have a word for it, and we use it whenever we're bored or annoyed and we don't want to do something, or we don't like the idea of doing something but we have to do it. So for example, I would say uffa, non ci voglio andare, right? Which means oof, I don't want to go there. And yeah, so it's pretty much oof in English, but it's an actual word, and I found it really funny, so I decided to include it. The second word that I wanted to mention is the word magari. Magari can be translated as a verb in English, right? So it is used whenever we're trying to express a very strong desire, something we wish we had, or we did, or we could be, or could happen. So, for example, I would say, magari potessi andarci, which means I wish I could go there. And it expresses a desire, something that I wish I could do, but I can't. And in English, I would translate it as I wish, but in Italian, magari is not really a verb. It's not an adjective. It's just a word that we put and that really emphasizes a wish. So I thought it might be very interesting to let you know that. The third word that I want to mention is actually the first noun and the only noun I'm going to mention, and it's the word abbiocco. The abbiocco is a feeling of tiredness and fullness that takes over you after a very heavy meal. So in Italian, I would say mi viene l'abbiocco, which means, I feel the abbiocco coming. Translated really roughly, which basically means I feel this sense of tiredness taking over me. I feel the need to take a nap. And I think it's very Italian-ish in the sense that there are stereotypes about Italians taking very heavy meals, eating a lot. And so I thought I might include it, and I might give an explanation for it because it's very Italian-like as a word. Not trying to be stereotyped, but it's a word that really doesn't exist in other languages, and I thought it might be really great to mention it. The fourth word I'm going to mention is a word that really changes depending on the context. So it's not like it doesn't exist in other languages, it's just that in English I would translate it in 2 different ways depending on the context. 2 completely different ways that mean completely different things. But in Italian we would use the same word for it. So the word is infatti, which can be translated as in fact or as exactly. I'm going to give you some examples. So the first example would be Sara non ama andare alle feste, infatti non verrà domani. Sarah doesn't like going to parties, in fact she's not coming tomorrow, right? So in that case I would translate it as in fact. The other example, on the other hand, is pensavo Sara sarebbe venuta, infatti. Right? That's a dialogue, and it can be roughly translated as I thought she would have come, exactly, right? So in the first case, you're kind of explaining or giving a reason for something. In the second, you're kind of agreeing. But in both cases, you use the word infatti. in Italian in two completely different contexts, or to say different things, or having completely different meaning according to context. So I thought I might include it because I think that's very peculiar. It's a word that has completely different meaning. The fifth word that I'm going to mention is my absolute favorite. I never find it anywhere, and it's the absolute hardest, and I mean the hardest to translate, because it doesn't exist in other languages. Whenever you put this word in Italian and you translate the Italian into English, you get expressions, you might get nothing. Depending on the context, the word can be translated as an expression, as a sentence, or as nothing. So it's very complicated. I think it's very complicated and unique. And it's the word mica, M-I-C-A. And it's just used to stress a tone, to stress something, to stress a sentence, right? So it doesn't really mean anything. It just adds a stressed tone to the sentence. I don't know if you can understand me, but I'm going to give you some examples of that. The first example would be mica posso decidere quello che sogno, which can be translated as it's not like I can decide what I can dream, right? And you're basically saying, like, you're not just saying I can't decide what I can dream, you're actually justifying yourself in that sentence, right? So someone accuses you of something that you dreamed of last night, and you're like, well, it's not like I can decide what I can dream, right? So it's not like saying I can't decide what I can dream. It's different. It's kind of a technicality, but it's very different. And because, you know, the meaning changes in English as you change the sentence and you use different expressions, it changes in Italian too with that word, because it adds a different tone. It stresses the sentence in a different way. Another example would be mica male, which is like it's like an exclamation, right? And it can be translated as, well, not bad at all, right? It's not bad at all. So in this case, you would translate it as at all, right? Male is bad. Mica male is, well, not bad at all. So as you can tell, saying it's not bad and saying, not bad at all, is quite different. It just, the tone changes, and what you're trying to convey in terms of feelings changes. Even though the meaning is kind of similar, but you know what I mean, the tone changes. And that's what mica adds in Italian to the sentence. The third example that I think is really meaningful is mica ci crederai, which can be translated as, well, you're not gonna believe that, are you? With that tone, right? You're not just telling the person you're not gonna believe it. You're asking a rhetorical question, expecting the person to agree with you, right? In a certain way. And the person that asks the question in Italian sounds really baffled. Like if I say, mica ci crederai, it's like saying, whoa, please tell me you're not gonna believe that, right? So it's not just telling them you're not going to believe it. It's asking a rhetorical question, expecting a certain answer. So as you can tell, it adds a completely different tone and expectation to the sentence and to the answer. It's a very complicated word to translate, and I thought I might include it for that reason, because it's very unique if you think about it. If you think about examples, it's very difficult to translate, and it's very unique. And I don't think any other language has a word like that. It's a completely different thing. It's something that you add and that stresses a sentence in different ways also, according to the context and the way you use it. So very unique. So that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If it feels like bits and pieces, it's probably because I filmed it in bits and pieces and then I put them back together. But I really hope you enjoyed this. I really hope you didn't know some of these words. I hope you learned something from it if you liked it, or at least, I kind of filled your curiosity. And yeah, we'll see each other next time. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you have any requests, just leave them down below and I will try to get back at you as soon as why do I sound like a flight attendant when I make a video? Why do I? I'm sorry. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and yeah, just really hope you enjoy it. See you next time. Bye.